As we move into the first millennium BCE, we're going to see the fall of the Egyptians. Really, they aren't going to redevelop to the same level, even though a number of other groups will invade Egypt and try and recreate the grandeur that was the old and new kingdoms, although really they never get there. So what happens? We see these peoples known as the Sea Peoples coming out and invading, and what we actually may see is a whole group of migrations and invasions going on. This is taking place over a period of time. So what may be happening is some group from the north is migrating south, pushing these people, the Illyrians, the Dorians, the Thracians, the Sea Peoples, into areas that they wouldn't normally be in. And as a result, those people, because they're basically refugees, come up to your borders and they look a lot like an invading force. And then we do have the Sea Peoples who are turning up and invading these places. So it may be very, very complex in terms of what's going on. But leaving all of the historical arguments behind, at the end of the day, as we hit about 1200 BCE, we're going to see a slow decline. So here we see the New Kingdom in 1250, and it will basically fall. In 650, we see a Kushite ruler who takes the title of Pharaoh and will try and take over that area by around 650, 700. And it should be pointed out that the Egyptians are the one party that actually defeat the Sea People, or at least fight them to a draw. Unfortunately, what happens is it destroys the Egyptian economy. They use too many resources in their self-defense. So while Egypt survives, there's really nothing left. It's like a sick man of the Mediterranean or a dying empire. And so other groups will come in, including the Kushites and others, and conquer Egypt. Really from about the year 1000, give or take, until the year 1956. Egypt is constantly under someone else's rule. And I apologize, until 1952. They are constantly under someone else's rule. So a span of 3,000 years that Egypt is being ruled over by someone else. One of the major players is going to be the Greeks, which we're going to look at next. But this Kushite ruler, just like many others, I'm using him as an example, will take the title of Pharaoh, will emulate Egyptian forms, depict himself as a sphinx. He wants to become Egyptian, basically. And almost everyone does, including the Greeks, the Romans, and pretty much anyone else who comes across Egypt up until about the 5th century, give or take. And it's so powerful, it's such a draw that even Napoleon will go out and invade Egypt because he can. So everyone wants to become Egyptian. They want to have that glory. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's one thing to rule over what used to be Egypt. It's another thing to renew it, to bring it back to its grandeur so you can say, I rule over Egypt, sort of capital letters, big, bold statement. And that's going to be important if you were to look at later Egyptian history.